Hi guys, I'm Michelle with Achieve It Fitness, and I'll be talking about our Half Dome trip for 2020. This is sort of our logistics orientation that we typically do at on-site at the REI in Roseville, California. But due to COVID, I'm going to be doing this recording by myself. I'm missing my Timmery and my Pepe, two of the other head coaches for the Half Dome training team this year. And so I'll do my best to get all the logistical information out to you. And if you have any questions after I do the presentation, feel free to ask them on the private Facebook page or contact me directly through text, and we'll try and get those questions answered. So first of all, I want to let you know we have permits for September 17th. It's on a Thursday. We typically drive down on Wednesday, caravan down on Wednesday, get there a little early. We check into our cabins. We get our keys at 4 p.m. We have a mandatory team meeting at 5:30 this year, where you'll come with your pack and your belt and your leader line and carabiner so we can make sure it's all good. And then we'll be off to bed and we'll be hiking on Thursday. All right, and then Friday, we'll spend the night Thursday night, and then Friday, you can hang around Yosemite. Cabin checkout is at 11 a.m., but a lot of people, like to explore down in Yosemite the rest of the weekend, so you can make arrangements for that. Right now, we have our board, and what this is showing our confirmed coaches. Again, like I said, we've got Pepe and Timmery who have been with me since day one. Really strong, powerful team, those two are. We're bringing back Conrad this year, and Dean Berlin, again, really strong leader for the fast group again this year. And then we have Steve Wismer, who's still trying to work it out, but will be coaching, and potentially Matt. We have other people, if we need to bring in more staff, we can. But right now, we've got about 6, 7 staff members to hold space for all of you guys. So what we have right here is we have, these are the people in black who have already paid their deposits. They're 100% committed. The ones in red that I've written down are also very strong commitment people, but I just haven't, connected with them to collect deposits and all those fine details. But what this means is there are 4 spots left. So if this is something that you're interested in, be sure to check in with me right away if you want to grab one of those 4 spots. Okay? All right, so let's start with logistics. For some of you that aren't sure where Yosemite is exactly, it's about 3.5 hours south of Sacramento, and it's about 3.5 hours north of Bakersfield. We typically, it takes about 3.5 hours plus, probably 4 hours when we're caravanning, plus we stop in Oakdale the morning of Wednesday. But we typically take Highway 99 south and we cut across on 120 east through Oakdale, and we come in on that north side. All right, so like I said, the dates are Wednesday is the day that we leave, Wednesday morning, September 16th. We can caravan or we can help set up carpools. There is a fee to get into the park. So if you're with someone who has like a senior National Parks pass, that's always the most cost effective. Otherwise, whoever you're carpooling with or caravanning, just know there's a I believe it's $30 this year just to enter the park. And that's not included because we're not really sure when people are going to come in. So just be aware that there is that additional fee to get into the park. We have a 4 p.m. check-in to the Curry Village tent cabins. We'll have a 5 p.m. coaches meeting, coaches only, and then we'll have a 5:30 team meeting, which is mandatory. So if you think about it, if you live closer and you don't want a caravan, you just want to drive on your own, you want to go earlier in the morning or later, just be ready to get your keys at 4 p.m. and be ready to have your team meeting with equipment at 5:30 on Wednesday. Our hike day and our permits are good for Thursday, September 17th. And we've talked about it, and we're going to have earlier start times this year. 2 reasons. One, because we're doing the trip in September, we're going to be working with a daylight issue. So it starts to get dark early, and we feel for the safety, it's better to be walking in the dark in the morning when you're fresh versus being tired and fumbling around in the dark when you're coming home. So we'll be putting you into groups based on your pace. And so we'll start figuring out pace groups, where you're comfortable, what pace you like in our practice hikes. But right now we typically have a group leaving potentially at 2 a.m. and the faster group leaving at 4 a.m. We will adjust that, but we wanted to bring that up right now just so those of you who are not early risers can start wrapping your head around it, which is me. I have a hard time with that, but I've got 2 amazing Pepe and Timmery who love the early morning, love the midnight hikes, so we're all good there. Typically when we come back on Thursday night, we do the entire hike in one day. We try to make it back no later than 8 p.m. because the pizza and beer and party stuff settles down at 10, shuts down, I should say. And then we can take it back to our cabins. Typically, we're all a little exhausted and we've had a high from the day. And you really are tired when you hit that pillow Thursday night. On Friday, you don't need to check out of the cabins until 11 a.m. So feel free to sleep in, feel free to go have breakfast, hang out, tell stories. Or if you need to get up and go home, you're free to go, whenever you need to that Friday morning. All right, about the climb. It's about a 20-mile round trip for the day. We do complete it in one day. We take the mist trail on our way up, where we do a lot of stairs, granite stairs. We see the beautiful waterfalls. And on the way home, we'll take the John Muir Trail. The reason we do that, the John Muir is a little more gentle on the joints and the knees, and it's a little bit safer, not so much opportunity to slip on the granite. And it's just a beautiful scenery. It's a change of scenery. You actually get to see Half Dome from another perspective. And so that's how we've been doing it, and that's how we'll continue to do it. The elevation that we start at the Curry Village Cabins is 4,000 elevation. And we reach the top of Half Dome at 8,800 elevation. So that happens within an 8-mile span. So there is a lot of uphill, okay? There's lots of stairs. So some people ask about, well, why is there so much stair training listed? Because there are a lot of stairs. So it's okay to do stadium stairs, and we'll talk about training later. But stairs and climbing and hill work is really important right now. We are not a power, go to the top as fast as you can team. We're more about team. So we do take frequent snacks and water breaks. We do have you guys in 2 groups, like I mentioned before, because some people are faster walkers. And so we'll make sure that you get in a group that fits your style and your pace. There is a toilet at the bottom of Mist Trail. And then there's another toilet at the top of Mist Trail. There's another toilet at the top of Vernal Falls. And then there's one more toilet at Little Yosemite Valley. And just to kind of let you know, especially those that are wondering, how much toilet paper do I need to bring? What is the bathroom situation? There are lots of little places at the beginning of the hike, but once we hit Little Yosemite Valley, that is the last physical bathroom. Otherwise, it's out in the woods for us. Little Yosemite Valley is where we'll be filling up everyone's water. And so we'll be taking care of all the water filters, and we'll be filling up your water bottles. Let's see. We typically do a lunch when we get to Subdome. Subdome is the part that is the granite switchbacks where you actually have to show your permit. And then the cables are after Subdome. But typically we've been hiking for, you know, anywhere between 4 and 6 hours. So we'll take a little break, we'll get some lunch at Subdome, and then we'll be fueled up as we go up Subdome in the cables. There is no hard, fast rules that you have to climb Subdome or the cables. And so if you have a fear of heights, we're going to work with you on that. But then always know you get the final say as to whether or not you feel comfortable doing it. And you may not even know the answer to that question until you get there. And so we'll support you all the way and either way, however it ends up. Okay? All right, so our accommodations, we will be staying in the Curry Village tent cabins. The cabins that I've ordered, I have right now, I have 12 large cabins. They hold 5 people. There is 3 single beds and 1 double bed. And it's located as close to the trailhead as you could possibly be. It's still about a mile away, so you have to walk from your cabin to the trailhead. It's flat, and it's a nice warm-up. So it's really, we're in a fantastic location for the Half Dome Trail. In this event, you'll see with this many people, we have 3 to 4 people per cabin. So you may have to share with someone that you don't know very well, but we typically, once you're at the practice hikes, and you know, we've always found that people are like, oh, I kind of want to hang out with them, and yeah, I want to share with them. If for some reason, and have this happen almost every year, there's someone who just has anxiety about, you know, sharing space with someone else. And so we do have an offer. If you want your own cabin, it's an additional $385. Okay? And you can share that with whoever you want. But there are limited cabins, so if that's something that you know, there's just no way you can share with another person, then let me know, because we're running out of space, especially with the amount of people we have already confirmed here. A little bit about the cabin. Excuse me. The cabins are, they're kind of canvas cabins. They have a hard floor. They have a bed, a dresser. There's a safe to lock up your valuables. They do provide towels. They have sheets, and they have army blankets and pillows. So my suggestion, when you get your checklist, I always suggest that people bring their own sleeping bags, their own pillows, and you know, I like my own towel when I go to the shower. The showers are typically, you know, not too far to walk to. There is a code, a security code to get into the showers. And we'll have a checklist, and we'll talk about, you know, bringing shower shoes and your own soap. And we'll probably add in a couple other extra tips, especially with COVID. So you'll get all of that. We'll hand out all of these things and get them to you throughout the training that we begin. All right, they also contain bear boxes outside the cabin. Now the bear boxes are about 47 inches wide. They're about 20 inches deep and about 24 inches tall. So they're not super big. So if you're sharing with another couple or another person, you're going to want to coordinate who's bringing what ice chest, because you cannot bring any food or drink or scented stuff like toothpaste, lotions inside your cabin because of the bear issue. You also cannot store any food, water, scented, even those little car tree scented things, nothing like that, because the bears will rip through your car. So you'll have to be really mindful, and we're going to help you with all of that, you know, what kind of foods to bring, what kind of snacks to bring as we go through. It's part of the training. All right, so for safety, we typically have 2 coaches per group. Oftentimes there'll be a natural split. If we have 2 groups, an early group and a late group, there's usually some splits in between the group. And we have enough to have 2 to 3 coaches per group. And the coaches, just so you know, we're in communication with our walkie-talkies. And we also have been doing this for quite a while, so we have a nice way to communicate even if the walkie-talkies don't work. So we usually do chalk messages, and we all know the trails pretty well. So safety is a really big concern, and we want to keep our group safe, and so we really discourage people taking off away from the group. When you take off from the group, it causes a lot of upset with the others who aren't sure where you are, if you're okay, and then it takes away from their peace and their hike. So we ask that whatever group that we place you in, make sure that a coach knows where you are and that you are within the group. All right? I have a little message here that says, stay with your group, care for your group, and love your group, which isn't hard. Once you're in the trainings and you start to get to know people, it's really a bonding experience, and it makes the trip so much more meaningful, because you're out there as a team and helping each other out, and you never know who is the one that's going to have a tough day. You know, it could be me, it could be, someone that you least expect that's just really struggling. Maybe they didn't get their fuel right, they're not hydrated, they're having a little bit of anxiety or nervousness. So we're all in support of each other, and that's why it's really important to stay with the group, okay? The group that you've been placed in. The other thing is, I wanted to mention, there's no guarantee that we'll make it to the top. We reserve the right to stop the hike at any time due to rain, lightning, wind, snow, individual hiker conditions, physical conditions, or any other threat that may appear. Really, our utmost desire is to keep you safe. And so I know there's been 2 times in the last 12 trips that we've taken that we have not been able to go to the top due to a storm hitting, a hitting when we were on our way up. And then the second time it happened, the storm was so intense. We had freezing cold temperatures, and we made the best of it, but we were not able to go to the top. So if your only reason is that, the ego and the mind is just dead set on the top and nothing else is going to satisfy you, then this may not be the trip for you, and that's okay. So we are going to have a fabulous time, and you're going to make amazing friendships, and you're going to feel strong inside of your body, and you're going to be encouraged to be human and be happy and be out in nature. All right, a little bit about the training. And so what should you be doing to get ready for this hike? As of today, which is actually today's Tuesday, June 2nd, but on Thursday, June 4th, we are exactly 16 weeks away from our climb. So that is plenty of time to start working and start getting in shape. You want to start the training now. And what I'll be handing out and what we have is a full-on training calendar. And so you can see right here is where we were going to have the REI, which was supposed to be a couple days ago, the REI orientation. But you can see the calendar starts on June 22nd, which is a few weeks away. So we have time to get you guys registered, get the logistics out, give you a couple weeks to get your equipment together. And then our first hike are these little blue things, which is June 27th. That's the hike that you want to have all your equipment, you know, or at least most of it with you, and that we're going to be trying things out. It's so good to do these practices with you because we can see and we can offer tips and things, little tricks and tips that we've learned over the last 10 years. Then you'll see we have another training hike on July 18th. So you'll see that's in blue. And then you'll notice there's these little blue kind of, and it says intense training. So now it's just the time to start, you know, being consistent. 2 to 3 days a week. You need to be doing some cardio, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour right now, walking, hiking, doing stairs and intervals. Those are great things to start to get a base, because when we come in here, you really want to have your body sort of primed and ready to push and start getting really strong right here. We're going to have another practice hike right here on August 22nd. That's tentatively scheduled for Mount Talac. And of course, all of these hikes that we have scheduled, we have locations listed, but we're always open to change depending on the weather, depending on what's available, and we always have backups. So right here we have Mount Talac, and that is a huge hard climb. Some people say this is a little more intense than Half Dome. Some people say no, Half Dome's really hard. But what we like about Mount Talac is that you're climbing an elevation at about 10,000. 10,000 elevation, where if you remember, Half Dome tops out at 8,800. So this really gives you some practice and experience in those higher elevations. So we love, love, love Mount Talac for that. Then there'll be a couple of weeks, and then right here on the calendars where it shows, we leave on Wednesday, hike on Thursday, and then we come home on Friday. What's cool about this, you flip it over onto the back, and it's separated into week 1, 2, 3, all the way down. And so what it says at the top for week 1, these are the things that are suggested. So, you know, it's 20 push-ups times 5 reps. So it's 100 push-ups that you have to complete within the week. If it's something and you're stronger than that and you're at the level where you can do 100 a day, then by all means, you want to figure out where you're at physically and go from there. But if you're just starting out and 20 push-ups 5 times, 100 for the week, feels overwhelming. Make adjustments. Maybe sometimes you'll do them on your knees. Maybe you'll do them against the wall. But we need to build upper body strength. It's helpful for when we go to the cables, and it's helpful as we're, you know, climbing and using our arms. I also have 30 to 60 minutes of hills. So if you can do hill repeats, we have a couple of special places we recommend here in our area. We have 30 to 60 minutes of stairs. So if you can get to a football stadium and work on the stairs, I know the gyms aren't open right now for Stairmaster, but if you have stairs at home, or I know one year someone had told me, oh my gosh, I went to the casino and they had 6 stories of stairs, and so they just worked on the stairs there. I've actually taken a group over to the Galleria Mall, and they have a pretty good stair system, an outdoor stair system. Still, I think Del Oro has the best easy accessible stairs. So, you know, just remember stairs are good. 30 to 60 minutes of interval training. Those are the HIIT workouts where you work really hard, breathless, burning and breathless for about a minute, and then, you know, resting, and then going really hard. So any kind of strength training, intervals. Those of you that know, I teach classes, and I have a lot of examples of workouts right now that are free that are on YouTube. So I'll put that link on my in our private Facebook page. I got to make myself a little note, I'll forget. But you have free access to, I think there's over 10, 15 videos on there, and they're like 30-minute long workouts. So those are a great place to go for intervals. And then we have squats. So 20 squats times 10, it's about 200 squats. Again, 200 squats for the week if you're a beginner and you're starting out. For some of you, 200 squats a day is maybe not enough. So just figure out where you are. And then there's, you know, there's other exercises. You just check off the box, and these are the suggestions for the training calendar. I'll be handing these out to those who have already got their deposits in. We're going to be doing a free kind of practice orientation hike this Saturday, which I believe is June 6th. We'll be at Training Hill, one of my favorites, my all-time favorites. I love that hill. It's about a mile straight up, and I'll be handing out the calendars there. If you live out of town, I know I've got a handful of you guys out of town, I'll be sending you the JPEG of the calendar, and you can have it printed out. These are in the format of 11 by 14, but you can send those to any print shop and have them print them out for you. All right, so this hike, it is a hard hike. You definitely need to be in shape, and you need to keep yourself safe, healthy, flexible, strong, and in cardio endurance, not just for yourself to get to the top, but also to be mindful that you're in a group and you want to be strong for your team. So yeah, take the training seriously, and don't wait until this middle section right here. The time is now. Time is now. Typically, I had set up some group training for those of you that live close by, offering it on Monday nights from 6:45 to 8 p.m. We're going to do hill work either at the Rockland High Hill, which we've used before, or Heaven Hill. But right now, due to COVID, we're already in June, so just keep an eye out for that. We may put that up for those that, you know, like to have that extra training. And of course, we'll always discount that like by 50% if you're part of the Half Dome training team. All right, let's talk about equipment and what you need. First and foremost are shoes. This is where you want to spend the most money. I have a couple of samples of shoes. These are the typical, you know, Merrell, Solomon, kind of heavy duty, high ankle support, traditional hiking boots. I used these for years. Pepe loves the Solomons, but in the last couple years, we had very good experience with the Ultras. These Ultras I used a few years back. I wanted the high top for my ankle support. They had the trail, this grip, which is great when we get to subdome because you stick on the granite, and that's such a safety, secure feeling when you're gripping with your shoes. You want to make sure your shoes have this grip and that they're comfortable. This brand is Ultra. And then what I've switched to this year is the Hokas. I love the Hokas. They feel like slippers. They're super comfortable. They also have this really nice grip that I like. I switched from the high top back down to the lower profile, and it's personal preference. So what we suggest is for your shoes, you're gonna have to try them out physically. And I know REI is not quite open, but if you can somehow get to, I know here in town, Fleet Feet sells the Hokas and the Ultras, and they are open with COVID. And I've also suggested to some people to the order from REI, try them on, and try them out, because their return policy at REI is just phenomenal. If they really want you to have the right fit. So we always recommend them, and they've been fantastic. We've never heard anyone say they weren't able to take their stuff back easily. Okay, so be sure that when you start doing the trainings that you wear the shoes and you start breaking them in and you start noticing, you know, how good are they? How well do they fit your feet? The other thing we're going to talk about is socks. So we're going to recommend no cotton at all. We're going to be using wool socks. I used to use these little, I've also used bamboo socks. I thought they were pretty good. These wool wigwam socks, I used these for years. They were like the low profile. These are the high ones. It does not matter high or low, whatever is your preference. For me, I started moving to these lower, thinner wool, dry fit kind of wicking socks. And plus, I thought they were so cute. They had a lot more designs and stuff, so I thought they were cute. So socks, you're going to need 2 pairs, because once we climb to the top, we're going to switch out our socks. It's just a way to keep the feet dry, keep the feet feeling fresh, and avoid blisters. Blisters are kind of tough to deal with. So one thing that we've highly recommended in the last year are sock liners. They're specifically called sock liners. So if you go to the section around, you know, where they do a lot of endurance running at REI, at, you know, Big Five, at Fleet Feet, any of those type of stores, they're gonna know what liners are. So liners go on your feet first, and then the socks go over the liners. So as you can see, these liners, you know, they're just regular looking socks. They make a liner that is a toe sock. So each individual toe, you know, is protected. And that helps for people who are more sensitive with blisters in between the feet. That's not me. I actually just love these, but I have past alumni hikers who swear by the toe socks. So again, you want to be doing your practices, you want to be doing your training with your shoes and with the socks that you'll be using to climb, okay? You want to get this ironed out now, not when you're on the hike in September. It will be too late. Okay, the other thing that you're going to need is a pack. So let me show you a couple of packs. This one is a Camelback. It's sort of the smaller size. This is mine. It's kind of more tiny. It has a lot of little pockets. But the most important thing you need with a pack versus like a school backpack, a pack will actually have this little opening where you can slide in your water bladder, okay? And we're gonna, you know, we want everyone to have this water bladder in their pack, in the correct pack. It's the most efficient way to carry water, and water is heavy. And so this is the way we want to do it. We will be having an additional water bottle that you'll put on for electrolytes, but your main water is going to come in this pack. It's 100 ounces, 3 liters, and this is the pack that goes inside the pack, right? Okay. Another pack that's a really good one, Osprey is one of my favorite brands. I just let a good friend of mine borrow it for a summer trip she's going on. so I don't have mine, but this one is Pepe's, another Camelback, but this is the larger version. And so you'll just want to determine if you want the larger pack or if you want to stay with something, a little bit smaller. You can see the difference between the sizes. For years, I've always used the smaller one, and then for, another set of years, I started using the bigger Osprey. But what I noticed, the bigger the bag, the pack, the purse, the more shit you put in there. So, just be mindful if you're one of those pack rats that likes to bring everything. Maybe it's going to be better that you take the smaller pack and, only bring the necessities. All right. So those are a couple packs. We'll be talking, and you can look at other people's packs on the practice hikes, and you can see how they've arranged their water, their snacks, their equipment, like their headlamp and their gloves and all of that good stuff. Okay. All right, hiking pants. Oops, let me go back to packs and water. Just so you know, we are going to be taking care of the water filters. So please don't feel like you have to bring your own water filter. If you are someone, and actually I know there's a couple of you here who've been on the trip several times with us, if you have a water filter, I will come and talk to me about bringing yours. We typically have 3 or 4, but it's always nice in a larger group. We want to make sure we have more like 5 or 6. But if if you're not familiar with water filters, don't worry about it. We got you covered. Okay, water filters are going to be all taken care of, and we'll take care of your waters. Hiking pants, and what kind of clothing do you wear? I like these 5'11" hiking pants. I also have a pair of Prana hiking pants. I like the material. It's kind of loose. I like having long pants just because you never know what the element is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to brush up against. The trails are usually wide, and so you're not really trekking through, heavy brush or anything. But for me personally, I like to have the long pants. There are some hiking pants where they're long, but they have a zipper, and you can just zip off the bottom and turn them into shorts or roll them up. And those are pretty, fancy and high tech. Not necessary, right? If you are most comfortable in yoga pants, wear your yoga pants. If you're most comfortable in shorts, wear shorts. But just practice in the clothing that you're going to use, because I know sometimes, there's certain shirts or sports bras that, look cute and they feel good for about 2 hours, but how do they feel after 10 hours? And quite honestly, we're going to be out there between 12 and 14 hours. So you want to make sure that your clothing, you've practiced a little bit with it, and you know what works for your body and what might not. And again, on the practice hikes, we're going to be giving lots of tips and stories about not getting the right underwear, undergarments, and stuff like that. So we're going to ask you to layer your clothing. So it could be quite chilly in the morning. And so just dressing in layers, things that you can take off, like a long sleeve and then put back on. We also have on the list gloves. They don't need to be anything fancy or special. Some people use their bike gloves. Some people use just a simple gardening glove. The reason we have the glove is because when you're on the cables and it's metal, it's just nice to have that extra protection layer on your hands. I know for me, if I do the bike gloves and my hands are exposed, I don't like the feeling of my skin on the metal, but other people do, and that's fine. I think Tim Marie is one that she likes to be able to feel the metal. It's more secure, and she has the bike gloves for the palm. So it's personal preference. but you don't need to spend a lot on gloves. I mean, garden gloves, that's what I use, garden gloves. Okay, harness and belt, let's talk about that. The harness and belt is not required in Yosemite, but it is required on the Achieve It team. We've been doing this, we've seen some crazy stuff. We'll be sharing crazy stories about things we have witnessed and seen up there. It's some of it's not pretty. And so what we have this belt. This is a 511 tactical belt. And I think you can order it from the 511 store. I'll actually have a link on for all the people who are on the team. I'll have a link for every single one of these little pieces of equipment to at least get you started looking in the right place. Okay, so I'll have the link for this heavy duty belt. These belts are the ones that the military and law enforcement use for helicopter training. So they are, you know, they have this heavy duty Velcro. They're just a phenomenal belts. I want to say they run anywhere from $20 to maybe $30 for the belt. Now the belt can also be replaced by a rock climbing harness. The one, I don't have one here, but the one where you kind of put your legs in and it comes around the hips. It's somewhat overkill, but for those of you who are really nervous or have a fear of heights, we recommend that you check out the full harness. And we feel like that's going to be safer for you. If you're like, I feel fine, I don't care about the cables, this is fine. And this is actually really effective. So the other thing that you're going to need is this leader line. It's this little purple line that attaches your belt to the carabiner. And the carabiner, there's certain little carabiners that we recommend. We don't want the ones that automatically lock, because when you're going through the cables and you have this on, you're going to clip in, you're going to walk up the cables, up the poles, and then you're going to click in on the other side. You're going to keep doing this. There's a lot going on, and if you're fuddling around with this automatic lock thing, it's irritating. So we have a recommendation for this carabiner that we like. We like the bigger ones versus the small ones that you might be tempted to pick up at Home Depot. We don't really want that one. We want the larger ones. Okay, so for belt and line and carabiner, we have a few sets of these that we rent out if you don't feel like buying. Our number one tip is that you go out to your friends and family asking for carabiners or leader lines or the harness, because there's a lot of people that have this equipment. They don't use it very often, and they're more than happy to share. So we'll put posts out. If you want to be one of the ones who rents from us, we have two rental options. We have a pack, a belt, a line, and a carabiner for $45 rental. We don't rent out these bladders because your mouth is on them and they're kind of, you know, they're kind of more personal. So this you will have to get. But if you need some, you know, just a cheaper alternative and you don't want to buy a pack, we can rent that, the belt, and the line. Again, we just have limited supplies. If you have the pack and all you're looking for is the belt harness or the line or this carabiner, we can rent this little package here for $25. Again, text me right away if you want that. We have some large, medium, and small belts. So that's available. And Timmerie has a few sets of equipment too, and you'll just go directly to her. You'll pay her directly extra for the rental. And if you're coming through myself, me, Pepe, just you'll do that separately. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of equipment, but not to worry. We'll have a checklist for you, a packing checklist, and a little checklist that you're going to have, as you start doing your practice hike. So you start practicing getting your equipment together. And pretty much once you do it once and you have your harness in your pack, your lamp, your gloves, your what is it? We have our headlamp, our gloves, our harness, our belt. We have our snacks. We have our water. All that stuff, you're going to get in the habit. That's why we do the practice hikes, and that's why we come together and chat about these things to make sure everyone has what they need. Okay, moving on to food and hydration. Food is not included in the price of the trip. So you will be bringing your own food. You'll need to bring food for hike day. There's no stores, there's nothing open. And so we'll talk to you about different ideas, things that we find have been healthy and good, clean fuel to get you up to the top. So we'll have lots of suggestions around food and snacks and hydration and water. There is food at the Curry Village. It's pizza, salads, burgers, and there's a buffet. And like I said before, that Wednesday night after the team meeting, we're doing the team meeting first this time, then you can go get something to eat. And feel free to, have whatever, the salads, the burgers. Some people do bring their own because they don't like to eat out. And another suggestion is when we stop in Oakdale, like I said before, ordering a little extra lasagna or something yummy from them is always kind of fun to do and a good, easy solution to the food. You will be carrying your own food on hike day. So remember, you're going to have water, you're going to have a fairly large lunch in there, and then we're going to help you with snacks and nuts and seeds and dry fruit and electrolyte replacements. One thing that I'm really have strong feelings about is Gatorade. I don't like to see any Powerade or Gatorade in any of my athletes and any of the people that I train. It's a product that has a really high sugar content, the artificial flavorings and the stuff that goes into it. It's banned in other countries, but because Gatorade, Powerade, and those guys, they play so much into the money portion and professional athletics, they have a big stake here, so they can't ban it. I'm banning it, so please don't bring any Gatorade or Powerade. We can alleviate the electrolyte issue by salt tablets and electrolyte replacement fizzy things. The one I like, and I'll put this on the page as well, are the salt sticks. You can get those at REI, and they're a pure potassium, magnesium, and sodium. Those are the combinations that you need for electrolyte replacement. So we'll talk a lot about that. Also, coconut water, not my favorite personally, but it is one of the most natural ways to get electrolytes. Also, the electrolytes is just putting a little bit of lemon. There's some other things you can do as well. But we really want to make sure we stay hydrated and we have the supplies we need. Water is super important, and staying hydrated before the hike and noticing if you're noticing that you're thirsty, it's kind of too late. So we'll be reminding people to take sips and stay hydrated and looking at each other as we're on the training and on the day of hike to make sure everyone is safe and feeling good and not getting lightheaded. Okay, so a little bit about payment and how do you sign up if you're interested. So the payment is $629. That includes your 2-night stay. It includes your permits. It includes your training calendar, your guided hike up and 3 practice hikes, and all the information, tips, and assistance, training, anything that you need. We are a wealth of information and we want to share it with you and make sure that you have a really fun trip. The alumni spots are already taken. So just remember that if this is your first year and you ever want to come back, I usually run an alumni special. It's $100 off, and I usually do that the first couple weeks before it goes out to public. And so we had 6 alumni hanging out with us this year, which is always really fun. All right, so the 129, and that gets you a guaranteed spot. The 129 is non-refundable. Once you take one of these spots, you're taking away from people who are calling in trying to see if they have spots. So once you pay the 129, there is no refund on that. Plus, we've upfront cost have paid for permits and rooms already, so that just guarantees we're starting to get our coverage. We have it set up as a progress payment plan. So the first progress payment, which will be $200, is due on June 27th, our first training hike. So you'll have a few weeks to kind of pull it together. And then our second progress payment will be on our second hike. So remember, just on these hikes, these training hikes, those are when the next payments are due. So the second one, $200 again on July 18th. And then on our last hike on August 29th, there's only a $100 balance, and then you're completely paid up on August 29th. After August 29th, there are no refunds because we can't have anyone come in and start the training or come on the trip this late in the game. So we have no refunds after the 29th. Now this year, we're well aware of COVID and the possibility of Half Dome being closed, Yosemite Valley being closed. If that is the case and we've come to this, they close it down, let's say September 12th, and they say, can't come up, there's no place to do the cabins, there's no place, we will refund you, partial refund. And that will be $300. That would be the cost that we would have paid for the rooms, for the, we don't get reimbursed for the permits, unfortunately, at that point. But we're willing to refund the $300 back to you if COVID shuts it down. If for some reason, let's say September 12th, you're like, I can't go, or I'm changed my mind or whatever, we can't really refund you, but talk to me and maybe we can hold your money and you can go again, or you can use it towards another Achieve It event. We'll try to be flexible with you, but if we tell you up front, you kind of get the mindset, this is how it is. It makes things a lot easier for all of us. So just trying to be clear and upfront. If for some reason the Yosemite does shut down and we are not able to climb, we have been talking as a coaching staff and team that what else could we do, because we're going to have these strong bodies that want to do something. So just so you know, we are kind of looking at alternative places to climb or go, private property type situations. So keep your mind open, and if you have any suggestions, if we do have to shut down, by all means share it with us. And we want to be able to have a big to-do on September 17th. If you choose not to do that, I'm still going to refund you, so don't worry about that if you don't want to do the alternative. Okay, I think we've so if you get the refund and you were a full paying person, you're going to get $300 back if we end up closing down Curry Village and we can't climb. But if you're alumni, you're going to get 200 back because of the reduced price. So I have that written out as well. Everything written out on this logistics paper. So if you are signed up, you're going to get all of this, plus your checklist of equipment, packing checklist for hike day. This is a rain or shine event, like we said before. There is no guarantee we go to the top, and safety is always our #1 concern. All right, whew, we did it. I know it's a lot of information, and if you have questions, for sure, send them in if I've missed anything. What is your next step? If you are in the red right here, a few of you know that you definitely want to go, but you haven't physically turned in your deposit. It's open. You can start sending in your deposit and secure your spot. It's the 129. I have a couple of ways you can do it. Venmo is my most favorite because there are no additional fees. If you need to pay by check, that is fine. Just send me a call or text and let me know. The check will be written out to Achieve It, and I'll have the mailing address on here for you. I also have the Venmo address will be written down so you can contact me there. So Venmo, check, cash, if you want to call and just say, hey, I'm bringing cash, and you can bring it to me if you live nearby, or we can work something out. And those are the main ways. If you need to progress this on a credit card, I can do that through PayPal, and there's just a small fee, like 3% on each transaction that you do. So just know that will be charged, why it might be $205 versus $200 at the progress payment. And just let me know, because I can send you a PayPal invoice, and then you can use your credit card. Okay? All right. So that is the next step, is to just get your deposit in if you want to secure one of those spots. You can also text me right away, and text me your email address, and I'll get you in the loop. We have created a group email that has everyone's address, where I'm sending information like these PDF files with the information. And I'm also, I have already created a private Facebook group for our team, and that's sort of a fun way to ask questions, gather information, post pictures. Great place to post pictures if you take pictures during our practice hikes, and it's a way to get to know people. So if you're not using that format of Facebook, don't worry, I will send stuff out on email. Just let me know you're not a Facebook person, and I'll make sure that you get the necessary information. Okay, we did it. I did it alone. There you have it. All right, I super look forward to having you on your team. We love this event. We love helping people get strong. We love being outside in nature. We love meeting new people and having new friendships forms and connections that not only help in our businesses with each other, but just in our pure joy of deeper friendships and laughs. We love to laugh. We love to joke. We love to have fun. And we would love you to be on this trip with us. So if it calls to you and you are ready to go, then you know what to do. Contact me at 916-216-4569. We'll see you on private Facebook with any other questions. Otherwise, I'll see some of you on the fun, just kind of fun training hike this Saturday, June 6th. And we'll see all of you who are signed up and ready to go on the first practice, which is June 27th. And right now we're tentatively scheduled for Loch Levens. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your night, day, or whatever. Bye-bye.